Good evening, everyone. Welcome to tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star. We are back. It's Friday. It's very exciting. There is a face up there that we haven't seen for a while. It is slightly terrifying because there's no beard on it, but we'll go into that later on. First of all, otherwise, welcome to tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star. We love being here, and thank you so much if you're watching live or you're watching on VOD, either on Twitch or YouTube, as I try to upload to now. If it's your first time here, we are a role-playing game thread where we live play together. We're all in the same town, yet in different rooms at the minute. Different houses, in fact. One day, maybe we'll record it in the same place. That'd be fun. But
that would be interesting to do, wouldn't it?
I thought we were going to tell people we're in the same house, but all in different rooms.
You're like, there's a... Oh, look, Ewan's waving at me. Hey, Ewan. Thanks for putting your arm in and waving. Sorry. Get your sides confused.
Yeah.
But yeah, so tonight we're playing Traveller, which is a science fiction role-playing game that we absolutely love. It's why we started our channel in the first place. And hopefully you'll get up to speed soon when I pass you over to our trained and relatively tame GM. But first things first, a bit of housekeeping. If it's your first time, you're very welcome. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll run a couple of hours tonight. So set your clock for that. We'll have a break at some point in the middle. After the break, we will regather together for the toast. That is very important. It's a toast to a fallen NPC comrade. So make sure you've got something to drink, soft or hard, after the break. You're very welcome to chat or lurk. We love our chatters. We love our lurkers. People that come in and chat. We will interact with you if we're not busy on stream. Sometimes I or you, and especially, will cut across what's being said while Ben's trying to do some world building and just welcome people that have arrived and do something like that for a while. But
it's not just restricted to Ben, Luke. I clearly do it to you as well, as I just demonstrated.
You do actually. It's just,
sorry.
But we enjoy it. It's part of our vibe. To be fair, it's part of our vibe. We're not very professional, and we want to be welcoming. So we care more that you guys are watching. You know, that you guys are having a good time almost, than us doing it. You know, we're happy. You're happy. You know. If you've been here many times before, of course, you're very welcome. I forgot to say that. So thank you, all you returning friends. So yes, chats as much or as little as you want. There's some red sun points to be spent here. If you click on the red sun, you get to spend some Imperial credits. Anything with a dark pink makes some noise, so do that. It's quite loud in my ears, so I've turned off the lizards, because that one's terrifying. The jump scare lizard. So loud. But have a click on other things. There's some things that interact with the game. So an example, clonk, means that one of us, the PC that you choose, has to hit someone or something in game. Quite shortly after that, Stefan's sneaky masterclass probably won't come into play because Stefan is hiding up on the Baltic Star at the minute. But that means that Stefan has to steal something and has led to serious storyline stuff. You can name an NPC. Yeah, because of that. You can name an NPC. You can give us a boon. You can do all that sort of stuff. Have a look, have a flick around, see what you want. There's a 1 credit thing. It'll always be 1 credit. And that is, I'll drink to that if we say something or there's a toast done or drinking in the game. Instead of spending lots of credits, for 1 credit, I can drink to that. And we'll raise a glass and we'll have a little sip of whatever we're having. I'm on the sherry tonight because I'm classy. And I'm also a 74-year-old woman. And it's Christmas. So clearly I'm drinking the right drink. But yes, so have a click around and see what you like to do. Anyway, moving on. Let's do some instructions and then I'll hand over. My name is Luke. Hello, I'm in the bottom right-hand corner. And it's where I feel most comfortable. And I play 2 characters in this game. I play Kara and I play Soraya. Kara is sort of the philosopher, the hacker, the artist, the carouser, the drinker. Good with the posh, good with the not so posh, and quite chatty. Soraya, on the other hand, is a bit awkward. She's been a scout for many years. She's very confused around rich and posh people. She'd rather chill out underside a ship, fixing it with some gaffer tape. Next person up is directly above me, and there he is. Look, go past Greyhill. Continue past Greyhill. Hang left at Greyhill's nose, and you're there at the housewife's favourite. the Floofmaster General, my brother from another mother, the sweatiest man in Faversham. So I've just made him turn his fan off. he is the magnificent Ewan. Good evening, Ewan. How are you?
Hey, Luke. I'm very well, thanks. Very well. Not too bad at the minute. It's, I've only just shut the door, so give it I don't know, 2 minutes, and I'll be sweltering hot again.
That's good. Someone keep a glisten watch going on. I hide mine with my hat. I'm just as sweaty, but who do you play in this adventure of ours, Ewan? That's what I want to know.
That's a very good question. A very good question. Look, I play the aforementioned Stefan Miller, who is currently hiding out on the Baltic Star. He's the only PC on the Baltic Star, which I kind of feel proud about. However, he is there because he decided to stab somebody in the neck in a nightclub, which I'm less proud about. And I think he is too, to be fair. We're not a very murder hobo type stream, are we? But he is the sneaky one who will certainly look after Soraya. They've got a nice friendship. They're good buddies. They look out for each other. They like a good laugh. And apparently a good stabbing.
Right.
I also play Agnar Arnson, who is a former general, Varga. Much higher on the social standing, certainly than Stefan, I think, than any of the other PCs. Obviously, being a general at some point, he's pretty good with his military tactics and his medic skills.
Unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Because I also saved the person that my other character saved. For balance.
You're a one-man yin and yang bracelet. So you're...
That's why I like it. I want a graphic with them yin and yang.
like a spooning, but with yin and yang instead. Yeah, I'll come up with something if I remember. A T-shirt with it on, maybe. Add it to the list of merch. When I've got time.
T-shirt list.
When I've got time, I'll go merch crazy. But finally, introducing the man that should have a whole lot more merch about him. Because he is the smartest man in any room. He lives his entire life in the Twin Peaks dream sequence. And at night, when he's not role-playing and when he's not hacking up his guts in a pit of misery and sickness, he likes to sneak out of his house and climb up, get into the rooms of women up and down the country and leave his chocolatey deposit in their drawers.
And all because the lady loves milk tray.
Thank you. Yes.
Good evening, Ben.
Yes,
how are you?
as always, the perfect introduction, which is in no way getting more and more disturbing. Thank you. Yes, feeling much better. Thank you for taking such good care of the channel while I was unwell and unable to be part of it, and before that when I was enjoying myself in London.
Yes, well, fun comes before a fall, apparently.
Yes, and it turns out that spending a week or so surrounded by thousands of people you haven't seen before, or at least not for a very long time, who come from all over the country and some of them from all over the world, is a recipe for catching the occasional little spot of COVID.
Yes. But it's a pleasure to have you back. We're really glad. We missed you last week. We did struggle on, but it always feels better when you're here.
Well, that was all we did to miss you, not struggle. Sorry, to get that in.
Yeah, very quick with that. Goodness.
Proving Luke's point.
Absolutely.
My apologies.
Exactly.
Yes,
only mild.
It was a very mild plague, Doug. Thank you. As plagues go, a modest one. Right, so I suppose I should get us started with a quick introduction of where we are. On the beautiful ocean world of Giikur, things have taken a bit of a turn. The famous Pelago race is underway, with 4 of the Baltic Star crew, including Kara, aboard the ISB team racing craft. Agnar is watching the race from a fast and luxurious dirigible, flying around the planet in the company of Olivia Sharp. Stefan has made it to the Baltic Star and is keeping Kron company on board, having been smuggled off the planet by mercenary Jural Cags. However, all of this seems to be relatively straightforward compared to the pickle Soraya finds herself in. Rose has been abducted and is being held hostage on a boat travelling away from Selville, the capital city of the planet. The deeply unlikable Anton Fess has taken her and is offering to ensure her safe return if, and only if, our heroes stay well away from the embargoed island of Herrenhal, a place that has piqued quite a bit of interest from the party. It's possible that his plans have been a little confused by the investigations of journalist Verena Sefran as well, since she's investigating the team Fess is associated with. Now, Soraya leapt into action, getting the contact details for Jural Kaggs from Stefan and calling him for help. Kaggs had, by his own account, recently won a shuttle in a game of chance, which meant he'd chanced upon a shuttle which, by chance, had a weak security system. He is racing to collect Soraya and Zoe north of the cove where the Pelago teams are based. And as the afternoon wears on, just as Agnar has lost sight of the boat with Rose aboard as it disappears over the horizon, that is where we resume the story.
How do we end up in these messes, Link?
I don't know. It
We
all
start off
starts.
with a simple plan.
Yeah, land on a planet, watch a bit of racing, have some brunch.
Yeah.
It can't be down to rolling dice because we don't do enough of that.
Exactly. It's just bad ideas and Ben's weird love of Fess, I think.
Yes, I do have a soft spot for Fess. Yes. What can I tell you? He's fun to play. That's all I can tell you. He's fun to play. I wouldn't like to know the man in real life, but he is fun to play. So, okay, I think by common consent, we should begin with Kara aboard the ISB racing craft. So let's begin with anything that Kara actually wants to do. She obviously took a little bit of a break last time we were together to run a quick data search to see if she could track Rose's communicator. But other than that, she's been focused on the race.
Exactly. And I think for now, Kara's very aware that in the coming hours, there's going to be the small matter of being shot out the back of a craft going hundreds of miles an hour, skidding bum first across the water like a well-skipped stone, and then having to swim for shore to an island that is out of bounds to the extent that the whole Imperial Navy will be coming down on us within minutes of us falling out the back of the ship.
Succinctly put, yes.
And in those few minutes they've got, her plan is to take 2 trained geologists and a very attractive young pilot, get them onto the island, look desperately for some carvings, and then hope that the cavalry arrives before the Narcs turn up.
Is this the plot for Mission Impossible 8 as well?
So, right now, Kara is doing her best to expend as little physical, emotional, and mental energy she possibly can. She'll do her turns as required. I like to think that she's probably done a few little vlogs. You know, she's gathered her energy. She said she would. That's part of the thing.
Yeah.
So, you know, I imagine an hour out when everything's settled a bit. They said, "Hi, Karalaska here. I'm here on the on Team ISB Craft. We're a buzz of activity and sort of a few updates and things like that. But as much as she can, she's going to be trying to do nothing."
Okay. It is during one of her sort of moments of reflection, waiting her turn, biding her time, conserving a little bit of energy, a little like blogging. It's during one of those that Kat sort of crawls into the seat next to her and sits down and says, I've had a chat with Cassie. I'm going to take us all the way through the night. Give her the option. I've told her it's an option to jettison me early if I'm too tired to continue.
I like your thinking. So this way we've got a brilliant chance for you to get the craft as close to the front as possible, and a very good reason for you to get shot out the rear early. I like it. I like your thinking, Kat. This is some top quality thought.
She's obviously a bit preoccupied, so I think if I'd explained that my plan was to scramble eggs on the front of the boat, she'd have probably nodded along with that as well.
Cool. Now this is good. You've obviously picked a right time to talk to her about it. We've got to work out a way for us to get jettisoned as well. I guess if the four of us are sort of without you, the three of us, let's face it, are not as useful as you, and so if they're really pushing for light, the light craft, I think it shouldn't be too much. I don't think we're going to need to cause a ruckus, try and start a treacherous takeover of the ship. This is a really good plan, Kat. This is excellent. Good thinking.
Well, just trying to make sure we're ready when we're ready.
Yeah, I like it. Big fan. So you've got quite a long stint coming up then. You could be all right.
Yeah, I'm gonna crash now, so don't wake me unless you really need to.
All good. You sleep well, fair princess, and yeah, see you soon.
Okay. She gets up and wanders over to the back of the boat, and after sort of exchanging a knowing nod with Cassie, curls up in one of the seats and wraps a little blanket around her to give her some comfort while she naps. And I should, in fact, make a roll for Sammy, who's currently in charge of the steering.
Yeah.
Well, that's not too bad. Okay.
Right, that's Sam's
and on the basis of that, I can tell you the new race order. Xander is still leading and still from DSS. However, further back, it's become a bit more chaotic. As Impact Systems have made a bit of a move and got between ISB and Maglo.
So are we three?
Currently lying 4.
So it's Xander, DSS,
VCI.
Yeah.
Yes, sorry, it's VCI.
then the heroes.
Then
First.
Then ISB, then Impact, then Maglo, Core, and GC.
Okay. Oh, we're so far back. So you're doing well, Sabster. Keep it up. Loving your work.
It's not too bad actually. I mean, Xander is doing well, and you're definitely in the hunt with VCI at the moment.
Good. That's it. That's all we need to do. Let's beat VCI. Come on, team. Come on, team.
You'd be happy to come 7th if VCI came 8th, wouldn't you?
Yeah, I won't suggest we should barge into them or anything. Yeah, exactly. Let's just beat VCI. That's all I want. Come on, team. And to be fair, it's DSS that are their bud, isn't it?
Yes.
So they're going to drop away anyway. So that's all right. So really, we're third. It's almost like it's like when athletes have a pacemaker.
Yeah. Yes.
Not a pacemaker.
I'm sure you're right. The only question is whether you would get the benefit of them pulling over.
Yeah, that's true. Or it'll be like Formula One where they let the leader through and then block off any others.
If VCI were let through by DSS, that doesn't necessarily mean they let you through as well.
Oh, sneaky. The swines. Okay, good update. Oh, I'm going to track that now. That's very concerning. Come on, team. We can do better than this.
Okay. So as Kat goes to sleep and Sammy is doing all right, Freya is in her rest period. She's going to be next up to have some of the controls, because Kat is basically planning to take the entire night shift, which is going to be a slightly tougher, more demanding shift anyway. And she wants to push through and then offer Cassie the chance to dump her as soon as they get into the closing stages of the race. just for your reference, you don't technically need anyone on board to be involved in you getting off. This is an escape system, so it's designed to be operated by a person who needs to get off unaided. You can literally just drop into the sort of protective suit thing, and
Yeah.
then jump in the chute and press the button.
Nice, and just give him a wave. See ya.
Yeah. Yes, I mean, unless someone wants to physically prevent you from doing so, I mean,
Yeah.
they could end up wrestling you for it. You understand? But unless that happens, you can actually.
Just go. Perfect. I like it. This is good plans.
For some reason, Ben, I thought you were going to say then that you don't actually need anybody in the craft when you cross the finish line. Because I know we talked about them trying to finish as light as possible. And I was like,
Yeah.
oh, I wonder if that's actually a rule.
Just aim at the
You-
finish
so-
line and get off.
The rules actually are quite convoluted with this, because in order to be a working craft, it has to have 3 crew at all times. So you have to cross the line with at least 3. In reality, most people don't jettison crew unless there's really, really a marginal gain, because the weight of the crew isn't that big a deal. But obviously, that big a deal magnifies earlier. So if you could jettison people with still hours to go before the finish, it might be worth a bit more.
Yeah, makes sense.
But equally, you don't want to jettison anyone who might be handy. And over a race that runs for 30 odd hours, people are going to get tired, and it only takes, you've jettisoned half your crew, and then one of your people says, look, I'm starting to get dizzy and exhausted here. I need a chance to rest. And suddenly you've run out of people to spell them,
Yeah, makes sense.
Yeah.
It's a balancing act. I like it.
like everything else. It's it swings and roundabouts, isn't it?
Especially
Okay. So there is an opportunity for at least a couple of hours if Kara wants to get some shut eye herself,
I think
unless she's got another.
nah, it's got to be a
another
good thing. It's got to be a good thing to get some sleep. It's going to be hyper stressful soon. If possible, Kara will try and get some sleep. If that's okay.
Okay. I think that's a very good idea, and I don't think I need to give you a roll for that, because though you are
Hey.
tense, you are resting.
Thank you very much. Thank you
Okay,
very
so
much.
as you rest, we will relocate our virtual camera to onboard a luxurious dirigible, tracking the race group over the surface of the planet, where Agnar, with his friend and ally Olivia Sharp, are sitting in very comfortable couches and are not remotely stressed or have anything to worry about, do they?
Well, I mean, half an hour ago, I would say you're probably right there, Ben. But I believe the last conversation we had was about our missing crewmate.
There is
correct?
that, yes. Just the one trivial thing, yeah.
Yes, and as far as I remember, obviously my notes are sparse, but I do have the occasional word jotted down with no context next to it. So you may have to correct me here, as is tradition, obviously. We were waiting on some kind of location. Is that right?
You
waiting
had
on tracking.
you were tracking the boat that Rose was on.
Yeah.
Once
Okay.
you were given the locations, the coordinates, you could slew the cameras basically that you have access to track that bit of the ocean. But you were only able to do so for a relatively brief period, despite the fact you're well above the water, of course. You're still going around the planet, and eventually the horizon does catch up with you, because you're heading in the exact opposite direction to this boat,
Yes.
and very much
Yeah.
more quickly.
And the cameras tend to track the race.
Yeah, I mean, you can pretty much, that they have a sort of an array of cameras which build up a complete image of everything underneath the dirigible. So you can kind of choose what you want to look at any given moment in any direction. You could suddenly decide you want to check what the weather looks like up ahead of the races, for example. But they still only see, in general, what is directly underneath the dirigible or is retrievable from video feeds that they have access to that are part of the race coverage.
Yes. Yeah, indeed. Makes perfect sense. And Agnar doesn't have information about CAGs, does he? That all went through Stefan because
That
he's
went
the
through
person
Stefan,
who's aware.
yeah.
Yeah, cool. So he turns to Sharp, sipping slowly from his drink. So, are you in?
Well, speaking as someone who has no clear idea of what I'm agreeing to, you can understand, I suppose. I hope you can understand if I say, hell yes.
I will admit I'm somewhat surprised to hear you say that so quickly, but I do appreciate it. Obviously, kidnapping is no mere trifle, whatever a trifle is. I've heard Soraya say it many a time.
It's one of those moments where you look at the universe and you say, there are good people and bad people, but you can't rely on that because good people do lousy things and bad people do great things. But every now and then there's somebody who, whether they're a good person or a bad person, is clearly doing a bad thing. And it's time to stop it.
I agree. Speaking as a somewhat elderly Varga, there is a lot of grey in the universe. And my coat.
A fair amount in the elderly Varga, yes. But also in the universe. And it's quite reassuring after a while of, looking at you guys and saying, on the plus side, you've helped me out a lot on board the seamstress and in our previous interactions. On the downside, one of you did randomly stab someone in the throat. On the plus side, you've always been very nice and companionable, and on the downside, several of you were in prison or being manhunted across the surface of the planet.
Yes, I do feel as though I have to point out though that and I'm very much aware that time is of the essence here, but I should point out that this this person that was stabbed is now the very same person who has stolen our crewmate, and also used to work for. He'll lean in and whisper, "Zudani secret, you know this." He's no. He's no Boy Scout out here trying to help out a racing team out of the kindness of his heart and for a bit of cash, is he?
No, I mean, I suppose it's from my perspective just a case that when you first encounter a person, and I didn't have any real prior understanding of him, you see, the first thing I knew about him was that you'd stabbed him in the throat. Not you personally, I hasten to add. And you sort of think, well, I know you guys a little bit. He probably had that coming. But equally, it's hard to really get behind that when you don't know why. You see what I mean?
Yes, of course. Anyway, look, put down the cheesy balls. We need a plan. There's a lot of people still here, and I feel as though this is a lot more pressing than waiting for the evening, as I was more inclined to do.
It's a thing, right? I mean, we've got to find a way to help Rose. That's the only thing that matters. Now, I know you're probably thinking, no, we've got 11 different things happening in parallel all at once, and none of them need to involve me at all. But helping Rose, I can absolutely get behind.
Indeed. You're familiar. I saw you reading the safety, that laminated safety card that they gave us when we got on. I have to admit, I don't pay much attention to those.
Oh, you're one of those.
Can't resist the laminate.
It's a terrible thing. But what can I say? Did they have any escape? Like miniature escape dirigibles? Because that's all, that's all I know how to fly. If I'm honest.
In addition to the fact that obviously this ship is served by shuttles whenever it needs to, so I suspect for minor emergencies or problems, if the engine failed and they weren't able to keep up with the race, they'd probably fly people off in regular shuttles. In a more in a more general sense, if there were a real emergency, they seem to have emergency landers. But I don't think these would qualify as dirigibles, more kind of gliders that will safely put you down on the surface of a planet.
Hmm. Do you have
But I
any
mean,
flying
without being
skills?
silly about it, if you can fly a dirigible, we do, by some amazing coincidence, happen to be on one.
We do indeed. Can you? I'm unfamiliar with the rules of the planet. Do you have any authority here? Can you commandeer the vehicle? Because that's the ideal. By sheer force of will. I mean, I feel as though the two of us together have a lot of social standing and charisma.
Okay, this one you've got to roll for. This is going to be a tough persuade.
Okie dokie. Oh, God,
You can have intellect or social with this, but it's going to be a toughie.
Let's take social. I don't think he's going to hit it. No, certainly not with a 5 on the dice. Plus a 2 for social.
No.
Minus a 3 for persuade.
Oh, no.
-3 for persuade.
Oh.
Which he always tries to do.
Yeah. He always
She
tries
says-
to persuade people.
I can't commandeer it. I mean, the company that I work for also sponsors this race. It's our race, the Pelago race. The same sports entertainment company that runs the Seamstress. But realistically, I don't have any authority over this part of their operations. I mean, I could put in a good word if I said, I could probably call up the chain and ask for permission to do something if it was a real emergency.
Clearly, it is a real emergency. A dear friend and colleague has been kidnapped. What if this wasn't just a social time off for you? What if you were? I don't suppose that would work, would it? Fest hasn't necessarily travelled on your ship, has he?
No.
If you were made aware of something, or he had booked tickets, then you could be tracking a lead and stumbled across a kidnapping, which would be perfect. But it feels like a stretch.
I have the ear of Brina Locke, a notable investigator of criminal activity on this planet. I could probably put in a good word there, but beyond that, I mean, we run a race here, not really deal with crime, unless I suppose it was like a cheating matter or something like that.
I mean, I'm pretty certain that that's going on as well, but that doesn't really feel like a steal a dirigible type crime. Commandeer of a dirigible type crime is what I meant to say. I don't suppose it's a long shot as well. I don't suppose you know the captain
of this dirigible. Never laid eyes on him or her. No idea.
Alas. I suppose that only leaves us with one option.
Yes.
I have a horrible feeling the word piracy is about to enter the vocabulary.
No, piracy is good though. I was gonna go with Grand Theft Dirigible, but piracy works.
Grand Theft Dirigible.
What about maritime salvage? Is that a thing on Giikur? if it was to crash into the sea and we happened to be there to find it.
Well, that's no use.
Well, we would
Because
happen
we
to
were
be there
aboard.
if we were aboard it. But
Yes,
But-
as well, precisely.
can I
You could then
suggest
take
to
it
you
off again.
that when we're on a craft traveling at 1,000 kilometers per hour, phrases like crash into the sea are not necessarily encouraging.
Yeah, okay. I have to say, I'm not overly excited about the piracy idea. I have a, I'm sure. Well, of course you know, I have a reputation to maintain. Less so since I joined the Baltic Star, but nevertheless,
So it's a different reputation.
Can you roll a carouse for me, please, with intellect
Of
or
course.
social?
They're both sloshed by now.
Yeah, that's true. It's a -1 overall. That's not bad though. That's a 10 on the dice, depending on how
Okay.
difficult it is.
All right. She thinks about this for a moment. She says, I mean, we can't go after a kidnap victim because the company would obviously say, sure, that's a problem and an emergency, but what's it to do with us?
Yes.
There are people whose job it is to do that kind of thing, and it isn't us. But, I mean, what if we received word of something genuinely more urgent, like people stranded at sea who needed rescuing in an emergency, and we were the closest? I mean, it might turn out that our information were incorrect. But by then, if you see what I mean.
I most certainly do. Ben, out of character, is there a way for is there a way for someone to call somebody else and we'd like withhold your number if things were looked into, if we were looking at phone histories,
Right.
and Agnar received a phone call from somebody from a withheld number who was like, oh, there's
From a technical standpoint, that would come down to essentially how good you were at hiding your activity compared to how good someone was at ferreting it out.
yeah, but it's it's a thing that is doable.
It's
Potentially.
perfectly doable. It would be an
Yeah.
electronic communications check against somebody else's electronic communications if they were trying to find out what you've been up to. So, without looking at his stats, because I don't have them in front of me, I'm guessing Agnar might not be the person to make an anonymous phone call or whatever.
No, of course not. Of course not.
Just a guess.
Yes, yeah. He'll look at Shelf and say, so if I was to receive an anonymous phone call alerting us to a ship in peril, there would be cause, you're saying, for us to go and save said people on the vessel.
It doesn't have to be that. It doesn't have to be. I'm just thinking your pilots of a vessel like this, they still follow the rules of public safety. If there's something that they have to do because it's the rules of the air, the rules of the sea, I'm sure they would do it. It could be a flying craft that has lost its transponder and people are worried it might run out of fuel and crash, and it's all hands to go and look for it somewhere. I don't know, but some kind of emergency might inspire these people to just be willing to change their conduct. And anyone who is a passenger aboard would just be told, I'm terribly sorry, we're dealing with an emergency. Life is potentially at risk and we have to inconveniently stop you from watching your race live for a bit. However, we will be serving specially customized shapes of ice in the drinks to make up for it.
Yes. As I would expect, as a person of some social standing. You know, don't you know who I am and all that. Okay. I think I've got a plan. Can we receive messages on these things? And he points to the TVs that are programming, that are showing the individual cameras that we can customize slightly.
She's going to make a check and see if she can work out how to do that. She fiddles for a few minutes and then she says, "No, apparently, or at least I can't make them do it."
Okay, that's fine. Don't worry. If you'll excuse me for a brief moment, I'm just going to. Sorry, this whiskey has gone right through me. Pop his glass down, and he'll scuttle off. He probably will somewhat scuttle. He doesn't normally. He's quite excited.
What, sideways?
Yeah. Yes, exactly. Because I said it, so it happened. He'll pop in to somewhere near the facilities. He'll go like outside the toilet doors, and he'll make a phone call.
Okay.
To
Kara.
Yeah.
Bear in mind, this is about the same time that Kara is closing her eyes and trying to rest.
Oh, she's gonna be
Yeah.
well grumpy. What?
Secret conversation.
Oh,
That's better. Thanks.
oh, honestly, do you know how hard it
What
is
you-
to work? I'm steering and doing the rudder at the same time right now.
And on the phone as well. That's quite
Yes,
impressive.
I know.
You
Make it-
always impress me, Carl.
But Jeff, enough losing. Make it quick.
Okay. You know we're in trouble, right? Like, well, we are in trouble, but we're not specifically in trouble. But Fess is
Yes,
kidnapped.
I am
Yes,
aware.
yes.
I've been checking my messages. I've been speaking to Sarah. She sort of, her voice gets quiet. I'm a bit paranoid this end, so I'm being careful who I speak to.
Yeah, of course. Well, listen, me and Shelf and I happen to be on something I can fly, and I'm
Yeah,
pretty sure we can get.
booze cruise. How is it up there in the clouds with all your champagne and your fancy people in their leather suits and their 17 watches and their fancy shoes on their hands and things like that? Is it all going well?
I tell you what, the champagne is good, but what really stands out is the cheesy balls. It's the juxtaposition between the cheesy balls you normally get and the ones you get up here. Miles apart.
I've tried some of these fancy cheesy balls though. Like the cheesy balls classic are the best balls. These hoity-toity cheesy balls, it's the wrong cheese. Don't. I know you like a strong cheese, but you're not right in this decision.
These ones are like dusted with like that. It's like Parmesan, but it's the Parmesan from Brightsea. You know, that really posh stuff. Really good.
I'm still
So
pretty
good.
certain that's the shaving off people's feet, but you do you.
And look, anyway, listen. This is time sensitive. This is important stuff here. Can you send an anonymous message to? I mean, ideally to the screens up here that me and Shelf and I have.
You want me to send a call to who?
Just an SOS to Ben. Is there any sort of like identifying marks on the particular units that we are sat in front of? That Agnar could scuttle back to and have a look.
I'll tell you what, make an electronics computers check with intellect, since it's a
all his worst things.
Let's hope for a 12, shall we? No, that's a 7 minus 3 is a 4.
After carefully examining it for a couple of seconds, you are aware that it runs on some form of electricity.
Listen, I'm not sure what I'm looking at here, but if you can, if you can somehow find out the seats that Sharp and I sat at, hack the log of where people are sat, and just send it to ours, that'd be great. If not, if you could just send it to the whole ship, we can take it from there. I'm sure.
What do you want me to send?
And he'll lower his voice. Just send an SOS, claiming to be from the ship that Rose is on. Give an approximate bearings or location coordinates. That's the one, not bearings, because you don't know where we are. Approximate coordinates and an SOS, and we'll take care of the rest.
I can do the best I can. I did track sort of where the phone was. I can give it a go.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you're in the middle of something, so if you can't, I totally understand. There's no pressure, but it would really help us. Otherwise, we're going to have to become pirates, I think. That's what Sharp was saying anyway.
Okay, I'll do what I can.
Thanks. Listen, good luck with the what was it, rudder, and what else were you doing?
Yeah, those things.
Yeah, whatever it's what you said you were doing. Good luck with those.
Yeah, thanks. I'm going to be busy for a few hours. Don't call me because I won't be able to answer the phone.
This is the last you'll hear from Agnar Arnson.
You are.
Pirate.
She lowers her voice. You are coming to pick me up, right? I can't swim thousands of miles.
Yeah, we'll pick you up. Once we've got Rose, send out another SOS from your location. This time, send it to anyone because I don't need to be. We don't need to. We'll just respond at that point. We'll be a dab hand at SOSing.
Make especially sure that the Imperial Navy gets that SOS.
We're gonna get the crew all ship shape, but send it specifically to this dirigible, and we'll and the crew will be like, yes, another SOS, and me and Sharp will be like, right, we've shown you what to do on the first one. Now let's see you put it into practice.
I'm going to be the other side of the planet by then. Make sure you catch up with me again after rescuing Rose.
Okay.
Or if you're picking her up.
We'll head a little way around for some reason. Maybe.
Oh. Right, well, goodbye, I guess. I'll send a call in.
No, goodbye sounds so permanent.
Well, parting is such sweet. And she hangs up.
Sorry?
Okay.
And then he'll continue with his toilet break, and head back to the table with Sharp on, and he'll sit down. He'll look at her and he'll say, "I've got I think I've got a plan. I think I have a reason. If you'd rather not know, I understand. If you would like to know,
I think at this point I probably need to know."
And he'll lean in and he'll give the basis of the plan to her. He'll just say, "Karu is going to put out an SOS, an anonymous SOS, but from giving the coordinates of the ship, or the last known location of the ship."
Okay. That sounds oddly workable. Yeah.
I mean, don't sound surprised, but yes.
All right. So, how will we know when the message? Will we feel the dirigible turn? Do you think?
Well, I asked her I asked us to specifically send it to the displays that we were sat at, and disguise the fact that she's doing it. I'm sure she'll pick that bit up. But I did say, if need be, just send it to the whole ship. Just send it out. Send it out to the whole ship. So hopefully we'll get specific information, and that will give us a reason to interact, to intervene, or come to some assistance. If not, if the ship's turning and we're heading off course, then potentially we can obviously notice this as passengers who are trying to track the race, but being security personnel for the parent company, I feel as though your skills would be very welcomed, as would that of a former generals. I could don't who I am. They probably don't know who I am, but I can talk the talk if need be.
All right. Yeah. Excellent. Okay. Let's see how it plays out.
Right, Kara then, I guess.
Kara. Yeah.
First things first. Kara's gonna message Soraya
All right.
and says,
Soraya is essentially moving at speed to get into position for the pickup at the
yes.
moment.
She messages her and says, "Hey, babes. Agnar's going to try and get the dirigible to you. So if you can catch up with Fess and do something, we've got a way to, we'll get her off or do something exciting, overpower him. I don't know. Between you guys, you can make it work. I'm sending a call. Peace out. All the best. Don't fall into the water."
Cool.
And then she searches around to see if she can find contact details up to the race dirigible.
Okay. The dirigible is not a difficult craft to identify. It's literally on countless screens covering the race. It's a beauty shot for lots of people who need something to focus on well into several hours of watching pretty much identical looking craft skim over pretty much empty ocean. They need anything to point a camera at that isn't one of those. So the dirigible is obviously going to be featured from time to time.
Can she see Agnar's face in the window quaffing expensive alcohol?
No, it's not really that level of detail.
Oh, that's good. Should have been very jealous.
Dirigibles, like many things, are prettier the further you are away from them. So the identifying the craft won't be a challenge. So if you want to send a message, we're going to have to work out exactly what you're going to try to do.
I'd like to try and call up. I'm going to have to call up to the pilot first and foremost, I think, or the captain, whoever's up there, the person with the stick. It's going to
right.
if that's the person in charge of making directions. But she's limited with what she's got. I've got some stuff, but it's timing. Like I could try and hack devices as well, but that could take. If my 1d6 is not the number I want it to be, that could take hours, couldn't it? So
yeah,
she's going to go for the sledgehammer to crack a walnut approach, I think.
Okay.
Just go straight to the top.
It's probably not going to be possible to do a voice call, I would think, without it being overheard in such an enclosed space.
Yeah, of course.
But you want to send an alert text, basically.
Yes, please.
All right. There is an emergency channel for such things set aside for that, so you can make use of that. Anyone can make use of that. In fact, it's an emergency channel. The issue you're going to have potentially is it will get relayed to anything that's available to receive on that channel. That's the purpose of it.
Yes.
And obviously the dirigible is quite a long way away from the boat. So if you go over that and let it happen normally, let it spread normally, then it's very, very unlikely the dirigible would be asked to be part of any search and rescue.
Yeah.
Because it's simply too far away. It would have to fly back across the island in order to get to the boat. And there are lots and lots of flying and floating craft on the island that could be there faster and are more conveniently located and wouldn't inconvenience the people watching the race. So you'd have to send it to them as an everybody respond,
Yep.
if you can go there, and make sure it only went to them. So in
Yeah,
essence, what you
like
have to do is send it up so that it looked like it came over that emergency channel and had therefore been sent to everybody, but only actually went to the dirigible.
Yeah, let's try that.
So it's still going to be not exactly hacking, but like impersonating, spoofing, something like that.
Oh, spoofing. I like that.
Okay.
Trevor should have a spoofing skill. I like it.
All right. So on that basis, it's going to be an electronics computing check. You can have your education or intellect, your choice, and you can have the +1 for your deck.
My pooter, thank you. Excellent. So it's +4 altogether.
Okay.
Ooh,
It's going to be a relatively tough one to do it discreetly, though.
that's understandable. Especially if she's just told everyone she's going to sleep. Here we go. We'll see them. It's an 11.
An 11 altogether.
Yes.
Okay. Can you roll 1d6 for me?
So 1. Cam, it is a 5, unfortunately. I think that's
A 5.
unfortunately.
Okay. To construct this message and send it will take the best part of an hour.
Okay. Oh, grief. It's going to be an hour. Sarah's going to be there. Well, she's going to get picked up in less than an hour now. Well, it's going to have to take
in more like 20 minutes, I would think, by now.
Yeah, and she'll catch up. So it's going to be tight. Okay. Let's do it.
All right. Okay. You start fiddling around and setting up the message.
She's losing her sleep. I hope Agnar cares.
All right. You start working away, which means you're not going to be able to go to sleep immediately. You're going to be pootling along with your hacker deck, getting that all sorted out.
Yes. Sounds like a plan.
Okay. On that basis, we have Kara busy, Agnar's patiently waiting for the message to come through, and we do really need to go properly to Soraya to do that kind of thing. But I feel before we do that, it's time we took our break.
Splendid, 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 splendid. Let's do that. Right, we're going to go and have a break. I don't need a wee, so I'm going to sit here. But the others will probably do something. My bladder's very strong tonight. I don't know why. It's because I'm sweating everything out of me. But we'll be back in 5 or 6 or 7 minutes or something like that. So hang around. Fill your glasses for the toast from halftime. And we'll see you all shortly. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. We appreciate you. And we hope you're enjoying it. Now we're going to go away for a bit. Let me find the right bit. Hang on. Let me just get my professionalism sorted. Actually, some music. We should get some music now. And that should be a picture. And I think I'm going to turn this off. Okay, there you go. Hello, dear viewers. 'Tis I, your friendly, slightly sweaty man. Not Ewan, the other sweaty man. But coming at you like Cleopatra in the break time with the sweaty Ewan. He's around. His picture's there. Look at him. Yeah, you see, he's around. He's around. And he's very good at buying his rounds as well. Very good at buying his rounds. I want to commend him on his round buying. He's a generous man. And a fine man. Happy Star Trek Day, by the way. You, sister.
Good times. Mostly just for the gifts. I don't actually. There were a lot of gifts. I was going to say the gifts of O'Brien and Bashir, but there were a lot of gifts floating around the Discord. Good Star Trek gifts.
I'm of all of DS9, and I know there's a lot of. You're back on now. You're all right. Oh, there's too many things to click. People got the gist. I know people. There's a lot of things with DS9, and it's my favourite Star Trek, of course. About different relationships and roles and this and that, and the jokes about things and so on and so on. But for me, the Bashir and O'Brien friendship is a wonderful thing. I don't know about you, Ian. It's one of my favourite things on the show.
Yeah, definitely. I was saying to John, Legitimine John, today on Twitter that I wasn't a fan during my youth, and then you told me to give it a second go during lockdown, and I totally binge watched the hell out of it. But I think before we'd mentioned it, it was definitely one of my favourite interactions, and I don't know whether that's because it's just relatable to me, but it feels relatable for sure.
I was thinking that watching through, because I watched it through in lockdown. Because like you, it wasn't my favourite as a youth, because I was Next Gen, right? That was what I watched first time through. But that was on TV when I was young. So DS9 felt awkward and weird because it wasn't the shiny suits and this and that I was used to. It felt a bit edgy and confusing. And it was only as an adult you realise that DS9 is, as Sup says, easily the best Trek. And
go on.
No, I was just going to say, and I agree with you that maybe it's because of your and my life position as we are now, that it's just that relationship. It's that there's an episode where O'Brien's been hanging out with Bashir for a while because Keiko is off working, right? And she comes back, and he's used to living the sort of the life just him, and going out every night with Bashir, and hanging out and doing their sort of just drinking or playing darts or doing their holler sweet stuff. And she comes back, and then he feels like he can't go out with his mate anymore, and it's really awkward. And then at the end of the episode, she realizes that she's like, you know, you can still go out and hang out with your mate. And it's just like, oh man, it's such a dad situation, a middle-aged dad situation. It's quite touching. And then them coming back late and then drinking and singing, or like they've had a hard shift and going and hanging out and playing with little figures and things together, you know. Love it, man.
Yeah, definitely. And it's those kind of things. It's the fighter plane reenactments on the holodeck, and the figure miniature war games, and those things.
Right.
And obviously they know their audience, right? So that's going to be up there for a lot of the audience, I would imagine.
But, absolutely. It's just that they're two very good characters as well. And Bashir started badly. First season, Bashir's not a great Bashir, but he develops. And I think by the time you have, is it season 3? Our man Bashir, his holodeck episode as his James Bond character. By that point, I think he's brilliant. From then on, I think.
Yeah, but I think that's also to be honest, I think the whole thing has issues. Season 1 and 2 is difficult to watch.
It's got some great episodes. It's got Duet in season 1's amazing, and no Star Trek has a good season 1. That DS1 episode,
it takes a while to get going still, though, which is traditional Star Trek, as you say. But I think it still suffers from some of that,
That's true.
possibly.
I always felt a little
Not
bit
as much,
sad
but
when Worf turned up because, as good as Worf is, he did get in the way of Nana Visitor. She didn't get quite as much beefy stories she had before them because he became the pilot of the little D, the little Defiant, and of course she got pregnant because her and Bashir were going out at the time, of course, and were in a relationship. It was their baby that she was pregnant with. So.
yes, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it's just a good series. Yeah, I heard you sighing in the background, Ben, in agreement.
DS9 was lovely.
It was lovely. Ducks. So the way it works is you click name an NPC and you type a name in, and then what happens is Ben puts it into his list. And I've always found that when you name an NPC, Ben works really hard to get it in quite soon, almost at like the next possible realistic point, I find. And then that character's enshrined. I keep track of an encyclopedia, and so that name will make it into the official encyclopedia. And so your character is canon, however stupid their name is. What was the name of the religious leader, Ben? He had a stupid name, didn't
The Pope, you mean?
he? Yeah, the Pope.
Pope Maximilian von Cotswolds.
Yeah, and that's canon. That's the Pope. So there's a lot of Von Cotswolds because of Mr. Leno. Have we worked through all the Von Cotswolds yet?
Yes. Yeah, I think they are all done. We had so many of them that I ended up building a cult for them.
Oh, yeah, all the Von Cotswolds. Oh, good times. Right, are we good to go? Are we good to go, by the way? Second half. Ben, you back?
Yes.
Fantastic.
Yes. Ready when you are.
Wonderful. Donovan. Jason. As we grew on me, Fids, the first couple of episodes, not so much, but I quite liked her because she had a really hard act to follow from Jadzia. And Jadzia had the whole storyline with Worf, and Esri came in as a totally different character. And maybe that's what Ewan liked about her, because she wasn't a military thingy. She just came back as like a medic, right? A much lower grade medic. I like that. That was good. Interesting. Much better than what Discovery did to him. Right. Okay, right. Let's come back. I think that's a button, and that's us. Oh, I need to put the graphic up. Welcome back, everyone. It's part 2 of tonight's Boys from the Baltic Star, and I need to find the graphic, which has gone missing. There it is. At the start of the second half, where's Toast, a fallen comrade? It's an NPC who none of you ever met. The only times you've met him is in the Tales from the Baltic Star that we've run a few of, where he's still alive. But he is a wonderful barman and a splendid man who died rather unfittingly in a very low-key firefight in a very low importance world, in a very nothing to do with the main storyline situation. Maybe the most fitting way for such a wonderful man to go out. But tonight we remember him not for his death and not for Soraya's inability to bring him back from the brink of death. But we're going to remember him as the crooner he once was. There'd be nights in the Baltic Star Lounge when the lights went down. Any guests that were on would go back to their room. They'd been out drunk by the regular crew. The engineers had just slumped back to their rooms. They always had the early start in the morning, of course, bless them. And you were just left with the main Baltic Star posse. And Gerg Sutter, who loved the late dance. And Grahil Bast would come out from behind the bar and he'd take his position with a microphone. He'd always give the last dance of the night and we'd pair up Soraya, Stefan, Kara, maybe with Agnar or Gerg, and Rose would cut in, of course, as is their way. Wonderful, wonderful dancer, Rose. I hope we get to see it sometime.
Hmm.
And Grey Hill would sing, and his most popular song went like this: "Looking from a bar stool above, like a story of love. Can you hear me? Came back from the cellar only yesterday. I'm moving kegs away. Can you bear me? All I needed was the wine you gave. All I needed for another day. And all I ever knew. Only booze. Can we all raise a glass to the late, great Grey Hill Basts?"
To the Grey Hill Bast.
To Grey Hill Best. Sometimes those sorts of speeches are needed. I always try and remain somber during the Grey Hill Best posts, as is, as is befitting of such a man. But every now and then, Luke, someone's got to break the mood and make us remember the fond times and have a little laugh, as we used to do with the very man himself.
And Grey Hill was a charming, funny, light-hearted, and as it turned out, squishy person.
I just want to be back on the
Indeed.
Baltic Star now, in that lounge with the lights down low and Rose
To Grey Hill, to Grey Hill, to
schmoozing
Grey
across.
Hill.
Love it.
Yes,
Oh,
yes.
good times.
He had many strengths, but armour wasn't one of them.
Indeed. I will drink to that as well.
So, as we race back to the events of the day, Soraya is heading to this location just to the north of the cove, a couple of kilometres north. So it will take her, a bit of time to get there, but it's not ridiculously far. We are only talking a few miles walking.
Phew, easy for you to say. You're not doing the walking.
If she's hurrying, she'll make it within the hour as originally scheduled for the arrival of the pickup. And it's worth mentioning that Zoe's actually got a slightly shorter distance to cover as well, because she was further to the north of the cove when it set off.
I thought you were going to say longer legs.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
she's
Zoe's
also
particularly
fitter.
rangy, but
She's fitter. She's
but
fitter and stronger.
she's fairly fit. Yes, yes. Her sort of endurance and things are pretty decent. I'm going to assume that Soraya's just going to get her head down and focus on that journey, or am I missing something?
Because actually her endurance is good also. That's her best strength. She's just going to go for it. She's going to set out as quick as she can.
Okay, excellent. Then in that case, she will get there just a little bit after Zoe and before the arrival of the shuttle.
Oh, I've been looking forward to this for so long. Kegs is back.
Zoe, do you need so many guns? I've only bought like my usual couple. We're not taking down a whole bank, are we?
I'm one of those people who thinks it's better to have every possible tool at your disposal.
You got to use a tool to kill a tool.
We might be going up against someone really dangerous today.
He's proven it time and time again, and we don't have Stefan with his knife to sneak up behind him this time. I'm worried. And I'm glad I'm going in with you, to be honest.
I think we've got it handled. The intel said there's only 3 of them aboard, and one of them's Rose.
That's true. And do you like to think she's still on our side?
About that.
Hmm.
Just bear in mind that might not be as straightforward as you think.
I know that I was speaking to Cara earlier, and her paranoia is peaking as well. With this, we suddenly realised there's so many of the crew that Fess has had a touch with, if you know what I mean. Kat's met him before. Freya has no potential loyalty to us. So she's got her head down. And I think you're right. As much as we love Rose, it's hard to tell how he's got to her, you know. He can do crazy mind stuff, can't he? He can really get inside your head.
He can be very persuasive in the right circumstances.
But I know that neither you or I want to think the worst of Rose in this situation. You've cared for her a lot over the last couple of months.
Oh, we're not going to hurt Rose.
Oh, are we going to put all that possible hurt onto one single figure, I hope?
That's the plan.
Excellent. I like this plan. These are good plans. I like vague but very violent plans.
I'm a little bit alarmed by the term vague in this context.
I haven't told you about the man that's given us a lift, have I?
No,
He's mental.
that tracks. Yep. He's picking up us to go on a mission like this. He'd have to be a bit less hinged than the average person.
Seems all right though. He got Stefan back to the Baltic Star with all the popo sniffing around. So he's good at his job.
Well, that's good to know.
And I hope you like him because he might be travelling with us for a few weeks. So he was quite expensive. So part of the deal was that we would drop him off somewhere.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds like us.
That's how we ran into you in the first place. After all, you heard from Kex and Chuddy and that at all?
No, but then we were not really close to begin with.
Ancient history, innit? Like the Romans, whoever they were.
Yes, it seems bizarre that it's only a handful of weeks ago, really.
Feels like years, doesn't it?
It does. It feels like years. And as you're sort of chatting and relaxing a bit, getting yourselves calm before any potential threat, you get the little sound of an engine approach, and then a rather swish-looking shuttle hoves into view, and spins around directly ahead of you and makes a fairly competent landing. Not flawless, but perfectly competent landing. And the side door opens for you to climb aboard.
After you.
She nods and just leaps lightly into the side of the craft.
Soraya will follow her up the ramp and inside.
Okay, as the door closes and the craft starts to lift off, you see Cags, a fairly scruffy-looking man. It's almost as if a scruffy is built into the man. He's not really capable of anything else. He would look scruffy even if he were in a dinner jacket, And he turns around and has a look and says, "One of you, Soraya?"
Hey, I'm Soraya. Do you like Northern Soul?
Is that a type of beer?
It's going to be the music you're dancing to for the next few weeks on the Baltic Star. I'm Soraya. How you doing?
Good, thanks. We got a destination?
Yep. And she sort of holds up the device Kara sort of sent all the tracking information to.
The information, yep.
Yep. That's where we're heading to. We're looking for a little boat.
Little boat.
A little boat.
Little boat we can do. All right. How accurate do you reckon that information is?
That's the route that was tracked up to about the last 50 minutes or so.
So if we head in that direction, get to that location, and then search, starting in roughly the same direction, we're likely to find it fairly quickly.
Yeah, I reckon so. That boat's not going to get that far, is it? It's got a small engine. It's a speed boat, but it's nothing compared to this.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Strap in. And he guns the engine and takes off. And as soon as he sort of got it programmed in and he's comfortable with the flight, he turns around and says, "I'm Cags, by the way."
You know what? I feel bad that I assumed that. I was always told not to just get on ships with strangers.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's probably wise. He looks pointedly at Zoe and says, "I said I'm Cags, by the way." And she sort of looks up and gives him a smile and says, "Sorry, I didn't mean to offend you. I'm Zoe." And Cag says, "Oh, I don't take any offense from people who are paying me or sleeping with me. And in your case, both."
No,
And
we need him to pilot the ship.
Zoe takes a very long, hard look at him. And then Cags turns back to the front and says, "Okay, that one didn't land." um,
she's got brutal murder in her mind, Kegs. Just be glad it's not yours.
It's fine. Fly the ship. Pay no attention. That's a very nice looking weapon you got there, Zoe. Got a name, has it? And she sort of thinks about it for a second and says, "No, I don't name weapons." And he said, "That's encouraging, at least." Okay. I reckon we'll be over there in about 15 minutes. Can't offer you any in-flight catering, but to be fair, I have no idea what's on this craft. So open any locker you like. If you see anything you fancy eating, eat it.
You know what? It's been a very long time since Sarai has opened random cases. Before streaming, in fact, I'm going to open some random bits, please.
Lick case.
Lick case. Open door. No, don't open door. Lick open. She's going to have just a pull 3 random bits, please. It's been a long time since I've done that.
Okay.
As you offered it.
I'll tell you what. Roll an investigate check for me, please.
I will.
With intellect.
I will. Hang on. Let me find my sheet. With what?
Yes.
Sorry, investigate with?
With intellect.
Okay, well, it's a -1 for investigate because I've got 2 jack of all trades. Hang on, I need to put brunch up. But then I've got a +1, so it's going to be a flat. It's a flat roll while I put brunch up. I fancy my chances.
Hopefully it's not a flat brunch.
A flat brunch. So there's... Oh, I've missed brunch again. There it is. Brunch. Hopefully there's some cheesy balls. Here we go. Oh, no.
The opposite of a flat brunch.
You know what?
It's a brunch.
Of all the times I want to roll high, looking through cases in a random ship on a random thing is not one I want. But it's an 11. I'd rather save that for combat later. But thanks, Stormbender.
Zoe doing the same thing rolled a 12. And you think it's such a waste of that roll.
I know. We need that later on.
Yes. Okay. So between you, you hunt through the various lockers and find an absolute goldmine of food and drink and snacks. This shuttle has been kitted out for comfort and luxury.
Sarai is going to grab a wide variety of things, which I will talk about as and when I need to talk about it, and shove them into her combat trousers pockets here, there. And any pocket doesn't have ammunition or weaponry or geeks merch. Random signed cards is now full of snacks.
Checks out.
Yeah, that's pretty Sarai-y, to be honest.
Thanks very much for the bits, by the way.
Yeah, we appreciate bits.
Thank you,
we
Stormbender.
really
That's
do.
very kind.
Much.
Within relatively few minutes, Cags has got clear of the island and he lifts up higher above the surface to give you a better view of a bit more ocean. He seems to be judging the right height to see as much ocean as practicable while not being so far above it that it would be hard to spot a small craft. it's possible it may not have been his very first sort of search across an ocean for something. And it is just 10 minutes maybe as you pass the marker point. He glances sort of out of the windows and looks down and says, "Haven't got anything yet. Shout out if you see something." And Zoe immediately crawls over to one side of the craft, still munching some food, and as she does, bangs into one of the viewports, and says, "Hey, careful! I'm very attached to this ship." She glances at him with a bit witheringly, and he sort of shrugs and says, "Yeah, fair enough."
Cags, I've got a question for you. Cags, you got a moment while you're flying? Can you fly and talk at the same time?
Sure.
I'm a lady, so I don't understand these things. Could you spare a minute to tell me about the appropriate moustache upkeep for the seafaring fellow? You strike me as a man that would know a lot about the appropriate moustache upkeep for the seafaring fellow. Just a minute. I don't need more because you're a busy man. Just a minute on the appropriate moustache upkeep for the seafaring fellow.
Sure.
I'll set my clock. Hang on. Let me just set my. Just a minute.
If it'll pass the time.
It'll only pass a minute.
It feels like Soraya said that a really poignant number of times. like there's something going on.
Like any more, I'm cutting you off. I'm not that interested in it. I just thought, kill a bit of time.
Sure.
Sure. A minute, in fact, an exact minute. So, what is the appropriate moustache upkeep for the seafaring fellow?
Well, I think when you talk about a seafaring fellow, you mean literally someone who works on the surface of the sea, not someone who's flying above it at speed in a hermetically sealed vessel. And for such a person, you have to consider that there are 3 reasons for having a moustache in the first instance. One, of course, is to strain the salt crystals out of your coffee. So for that reason, your moustache must be bristly, straight, and cover the top lip. So that's an important consideration. The second is that obviously it's weatherproofing, which means it has to be properly filled with grease or oil to protect it from the elements out there on a windswept deck. Now that oil, of course, can be found in many fish and in many other things. But there is a third use for a moustache at sea, which is not always found for everything else. It's when one needs.
No, I'm not interested anymore. No, I don't care about the third point. The 2 is good enough. You've spoken for long enough. That's all I needed. It's like no. 2's good. We'll go with 2.
Excellent. Right.
Good time. So, very good time.
While that's been going on, Zoe rolled quite well again on her survival check. And she calls out from the viewport, "I think I've got it." Pointing, and Cags looks at where she's pointing and steers in that direction, and brings the craft down low to the water as you come closer to the point that Zoe's indicated, but slowly. And he says, "Right, so talk me through this. What happens now?"
There's I feel like we can trust. No, you're basically one of our crew now, aren't you, Cagsy? We're getting along so well. You've told me all I need to know about moustache maintenance. We're going to travel along together for a bit. We do some late night dancing and drinking together. It's all good, isn't it? And you've got this fine ship that you were very fortunate to get.
I won it,
I know you did. You're a very lucky man. On this boat, there's 3 people. There's one person we love. Isn't that right, Zoe? One person we love.
Mm-hmm.
There's one person we couldn't care less about. And there's one person we hate more than our very souls can bear.
Wow. He must have told a really awful joke.
He did. He got up to 3 important facts about moustache maintenance. We don't like him, and he, the one that we hate the most, has kidnapped the one that we love. And so, Zoe, you took offence to that, didn't you?
I'm a bit livid.
She really likes that girl, don't you? Don't you, Zoe?
Very, very much.
Kind of like a younger sister, I'd say. Would you say?
A lot like that.
And what happens when some scumbag you hate takes away your younger sister, Zoe?
I peel them and then I fillet them.
And it was we were never going to get there, were we? But we needed someone to get us there, didn't we, Zoe?
We did.
And now he's got us here really well, hasn't he? He's done an excellent job, hasn't he?
Competent enough.
And he's given us the opportunity to get our little sister back, hasn't he?
So far, I'm not angry with him.
And all that's in our way is someone we don't care about and someone else who deserves peeling, I believe, Zoe.
I'm quite looking forward to it, actually.
Kagsy, we love you. We appreciate you. We'd love you to stay hovering. Do not feel like you need to participate in the ritual peeling, but that is what we're going to go down for. And I'm sure you will not tell anyone of this, what's going to happen in the next few minutes.
He glances back and forth between the two of you and says, wasn't here, didn't see anything, never heard of either of you, especially the scary one.
If there is one more thing I'd love to request of you. If for some reason the three very angry women all happen to fall foul of misfortune, is there any way you could send the 2 remaining people in that boat to the bottom of the ocean?
Well, I mean, normally I'd charge extra for that. But to be honest, I'm already getting a lift off system, so I'll tell you what. If for whatever reason you can't make it back, I'll do what I can.
That's fantastic. We've got friends. She's busy at the minute, but she knows that that I've invited you on board, and she knows you're good for it. Okay, you fulfilled your end of the bargain.
It's good that we've got a visible paper trail. Yes, I always prefer working that way.
She's very good at getting rid of visible paper trails. Let's put it that way.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Well, you're a very exciting group.
I must say, we've grown quite fond of you.
Yeah, that doesn't lie.
Oh, don't worry. We were never fond of this man.
Yeah, I'm getting that, actually. Yeah. Yeah. So, I mean, without being silly about it, are you expecting violence right now? Do I need to, be prepared for the fact that you're going to come back covered in blood and wounded and with bits missing?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping not for bits missing, but blood, possibly, yes. Have you got some newspaper on the floor?
I've got a med kit.
That is Very useful. I don't have a very good history with mech kits.
Oh, nor do I. I know how to open one. That's about it.
I know how to kill someone with one.
Wow, you really don't know how to use a mech.
I know a bit of everything, but it's not my oeuvre.
Sure. Well, most people wouldn't claim to know everything. Right. Okay. So how are we approaching this craft? You want me to hover above it and open the door, or is that a bit too obvious? What do you fancy?
Well, there's big fish in there, and I'm not the best. I can swim, but I can't swim hundreds of meters at high speed. So yeah, drop us in. Let's go for the element of excitement.
All right. Okay. That's going to work. He pops open the hatch since you're moving at low speed at the moment. Turns the craft straight towards the target boat and guns the engine. You can actually feel the acceleration and the wind whipping through the open hatch. Zoe goes up against the side, pulls out her Gauss rifle, and loops the strap over her shoulder so she can effectively sling it one-handed while holding on to the door jamb with the other hand. She looks across at Soraya and grins and says, "Okay, this is going to be a good day."
And Soraya unholsters her very. I've got to get the list now of what she's got. That very nice high-tech pistol thing she's been carrying around with her.
Yes, she has.
Yep. And she sort of gives a smile. He says, "I got your back. I hope this is a beautiful point in our relationship."
Just so you know, if there's anyone on the top deck who isn't Rose on the way in, I'm taking them before we drop in.
Oh, you know how to speak to a woman.
Okay. She crouches down, bracing the rifle against the side of the hatch as the craft comes in closer. She calls out, "Got it in sight." Pulls the weapon up so she can use its optical scope. And she calls out, "No one on top."
You sounded slightly disappointed.
Only slightly. I'll have to work on my inflection.
Describe to me the boat then, please, from what we can see.
It is a fast cabin cruiser type pleasure boat. It's been adapted for the purposes of being used as a support boat, basically a tug for the VCI race team, and it's wearing their colours. This is the craft that went out with Rose as a pleasure craft, because once the race is begun and the fast boats are disappearing at 1,000 kilometers an hour, none of these support boats could remotely keep up with them. There's really nothing for them to do anymore, because you're not moving the racecraft in and out of their slips anymore. It's very roughly 10 meters long, relatively large for a lightweight pleasure craft, and could probably quite comfortably have 20 or 30 people aboard if you were crowding them on for a trip. Operationally, normally it would have a crew of anywhere between 1 and 3 to actually run the boat. You can certainly steer it and run the engines from just a single crew position, but you would normally want to have another person or two to help with lines when mooring up and things of that nature. It's got enough hull space to have a full deck below the main weather deck, and there's a cockpit at the back, a smaller one at the front, and in the center an elevated steering panel from which the craft is normally run. But it's a sophisticated enough boat that it's also got autopilots and auto steering. It's got maritime navigation radars and weather radars, communications equipment. It's a fairly modern, fairly smart, lightweight, but quite pleasant, fast boat.
I hope you didn't just foreshadow this. Um, okay. Sarah takes it all in, and she sort of not too snugly, but she snuggles in behind Zoe, ready for when we're over the top of it.
Okay. You get there, and Cags tries to bring the craft in to a smooth stop just above the rear cockpit. Not particularly well. He staggers off to the side as he comes in. To be in his defence, the boat is moving at a reasonable pace as well. This is kind of like trying to land an aircraft on an aircraft carrier, only that aircraft carrier is 10 feet long. It's not that easy. So, unable to make his initial approach because he overshoots, he manages to pull alongside that front cockpit area, the little depression in the front of the boat ahead of the cabin.
Yeah.
And Zoe is going to attempt to jump out. Okay, that's not a great roll. She really shouldn't have searched that locker, should she? So she leaps out. She lands on the boat, but she slips immediately on the slick, wet deck and falls in a heap on the ground.
Sarah turns back to Cags and says, "Can you stay close in case we need to get out of it quick?"
Sure, close as you like.
I like very close. And then Sarai jumps out to join.
Okay, can you roll an athletics dex check for me, please, with dex?
It's all the zeros. And let's see. It's a 7, which isn't as much as I would like.
It's actually perhaps slightly more elegant than Zoe managed, but only just. And you also land in a bit of a heap down on one knee, bracing yourself against the side of that front cockpit. From where you are, you can see companionways essentially, but exposed ones like catwalks that run down the outsides of the cabin towards the back, and you can see the glass of the cabin front in front of you.
Can you see through it quite clearly, or is it reflecting on the sky and the world?
You've got a decent chance. You want to check see what's inside?
Yeah, I don't want to like put my head straight to it in case I'm going to get a bullet between the eyes. But do you know what I mean? As I'm sort of,
I do. Roll a recon check for me, please, with intellect.
I will. -1 +1 is flat. That's a 6, unfortunately. Things are going badly on this.
Okay. You can't really make out. There could be someone in the cockpit, but nobody's opened fire at you or shouted at you or anything yet.
That is true. Can't see anyone. Doesn't mean they're not there.
Okay. Zoe's going to try to clamber up the front of the cockpit and onto the roof of it, rather than go around the side.
Sarai's got a boom, by the way, if I need it.
Okay. Oh, that's rubbish. On the pitching boat, Zoe makes it sort of halfway up and then slides back down to the cockpit, letting out under her breath a bit of a foul word.
Oh, you all right?
Fine. I just want to hurt something.
I know it will happen. Just hurt later. Balance first. Come on. And so Sarah sort of tries to sort of balance, grabs her and tries to sort of balance her up. And then she herself tries to head down the companionway.
Okay. The heading down one of the sides to go around into the cockpit.
Yes, please,
okay. Can you make a dex check for me, please, with athletics dex?
I can. I'm just going to do it flat. I'm saving my boon. And I'm glad I did. That's a 10. Finally.
Okay. For the first time since either of you landed, you actually found your sea legs a bit. And you managed to slip along the side of the cockpit to the point where you can drop down in, or if you prefer, peer inside from the back and see if you can see anyone there in the elevated cabin space.
Peering makes more sense.
Okay. Look inside. Immediately, you don't see a person there. The craft is moving, but it seems to be under autopilot control or something. There's nobody visibly there. Would you like to make a recon check to see if you can spot any dangers in the part of there in front of you as you peer around, which takes you down into the deck below?
Yes, I would. I really don't trust you right now, and I'm going to take the boon at this point because
Okay.
I've got suspicions. Hopefully that unfounded. Oh, that's good. Did you say recon?
Yeah, with intellect, please.
Okay, so that's -1 +1. Then I've gone 662. Thank you, socks. So that's a 12.
Oh, fantastic. Okay. As you peer around the side, you look down into the cockpit in some detail. There is a door open leading down a fairly smart-looking, polished wooden flight of steps. It's a fairly smart little craft, this, into the actual below decks area of the craft. And as I say, the hull's long enough and has enough freeboard to actually accommodate a full size deck under there. It's going to be reasonably substantial under there. You, with that roll, first of all, actually see a little flash of movement from the bottom there, and hear a slightly ragged breathing over the little whine of the engine from where you're standing.
Ragged.
Yeah,
Oh,
like someone's frightened or uncomfortable or tense or worried. They're whoever it is not calm and relaxed. Put it that way.
It's obvious we're above, so she's gonna shout down. You know we're here. Come out, and you come out in safety.
Can you roll a persuade for me, please, with a boon?
Yeah, of course.
And intellect.
Ooh.
Whilst we're on the subject of boons, Ben, is Socks allowed to buy more boons on behalf of the absent Metaminders? She asks.
Oh yeah.
I don't see any inherent reason not to buy boons whenever you fancy them.
You have like 40,000 credits, Socks.
Because
by 40.
I do reserve the right to say, I'm sorry, you can't have one in that moment. But I mean, I don't normally do that. You're aware of this. It's not something I would normally do. But if I feel like they're being abused too much, I may say you can't have that one. But there is no reason to withhold boons.
Fantastic. Thank you, Socks. I've got a boon for this one anyway. So I'm going to hold on to that one because Ben gave me a boon. And I've got I've got +2 as well. I've got 1 in the wood. And I've got and a +2 as well. Now we're starting.
Cool.
Okay.
Thank you for that though, because that would have been a 7. I guarantee that's the boon dice. 14, please.
14.
Yes. Sarai's never hit a 14 before. Sarai's never done that good. It's always a
14
Kara
is
roll.
excellent.
Yes.
Okay. The voice. There's a voice that comes up from below. It's sounding a little bit calmer now, maybe because you're talking rather than throwing grenades down, I guess.
That's usually Sarai's approach.
And the voice comes up and says, "Okay, I'm alone. I'm coming up." But you can hear as he says he's coming up, it's sort of slightly wincing as he says it, like this could go very, very badly. Um, and he does come up very slowly. He doesn't look eager, but he does come up the flight of stairs, and you see him emerge. He's a youngish, very fit-looking chap in Team VCI colours.
Is it just you?
Yeah,
Where's the girl?
he looks around quite surprised. I thought she was up here.
Where's the phone?
What phone?
Where's Fess?
He the guy?
Sure.
I kind of expected him to be here as well.
What were you told to do? Just gun it?
Was told a VIP from BCI was taking a lady friend out, and they wanted to enjoy some time alone on the open ocean. I was told to set the autopilot, go down below, and kind of not listen to anything they might be up to together.
Hmm. 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 What's your name, sailor?
Donovan.
Donovan. You work for VCI?
Yeah, in the publicity department and support services.
And you didn't know who that guy was? You just said it was that guy.
I didn't know his name.
You're a terrible VCI employee, Donovan. He's quite famous.
Not to me.
Do you watch the news, Donovan?
I take a little bit of an interest, when it's the big stuff.
Did you hear about the guy that got stabbed the other day? In the neck, in the club?
Yeah.
It's quite big. That was him. He was the one that got stabbed in the neck, Donovan. Did you know that?
No, that wasn't part of the instructions to point out the stab wound.
Do you know who stabbed him in the neck, Donovan?
I don't.
And my boyfriend stabbed him in the neck, Donovan. Do you know why?
No.
Because he's a dick, Donovan. Do you know who that girl was with him?
No, just a lady friend, I was told.
That's Zoe. Who was that? Has she clambered around by this point? I assume.
Yeah, she's had plenty of time to come around the side and drop down next to you.
Zoe, why don't you tell Donovan who that girl was on the boat?
She's my very good friend.
Do you want to tell Donovan what her relationship is with the other man? Are they boyfriend and girlfriend? Maybe lovers? Maybe something like that? Maybe, perhaps? Is that why?
No, more. I mean, I would characterize their relationship more as psychopath and hostage.
I was feeling the same thing. Did you not get the psychopath and hostage vibe, Donovan? Do you have very bad people skills?
I'm beginning to think maybe.
I'm very disappointed in you, Donovan. Very, very disappointed in you.
Sorry.
And you went down there and you just thought they were here.
Yeah.
Have you slowed down or stopped at all?
No.
When was the last time you saw them? How far away from the island were you?
It was about an hour ago, so probably 100 kilometers or so from the island.
Mm, mm. And they're definitely not downstairs, Donovan.
I swear.
Sarah pulls out one of her grenades. Her frag grenade. If I throw this downstairs, Donovan, it's not going to kill anyone, is it? Well, it'll kill us, of course, but it's not going to directly kill anyone downstairs, is it?
I mean, presumably it will sink the boat.
Yeah, but, you know, directly blow someone in horrible pieces before we all drown, of course.
Are those the only options you're giving me?
I just don't want you to be hiding your boss from us, Donovan. Do you know what I mean?
If you
You-
don't believe me, check.
But everyone says that, and then you run into a terrible trap. Why don't we go down together, Donovan? You can go in front of me.
Okay.
Come on, let's go down. And she grabs him from behind and sort of leads downstairs with him.
Okay. He starts stepping down the steps. There's a certain tension between his shoulder blades, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
He gets to the bottom of the steps. You're in a sort of fairly substantial forward cabin space, and there's a door back behind the steps, leading into the rear section of the below decks area.
Hmm. Where's this door lead, Donovan?
I don't understand.
When we get downstairs, what am I expecting to see? Apart
This
from a very
is the
sweaty
lower
back.
deck inside the boat.
Okay. Oh, you must be quite acquainted to the lower deck by now, Donovan, having spent an hour down here.
Yes.
Hmm. Let's have a look around. Do you want to go in first, Donovan?
Sure. He walks rearward and opens the door. It leads into a sort of fairly narrow passageway that runs aft. At the far end, there's a door, and there's a door on each side.
Hmm. Is there any way down here apart from through the door we came, Donovan?
There's a way through at the far end of this companionway, leading out onto a little miniature boat deck at the stern.
Soraya turns back to Zoe and says, "Do you want to come down the other side? We'll meet in the middle."
Sure. And Zoe disappears off towards the back of the boat.
Okay. What's to the left of us, Donovan?
Left and right are the same, the two cabins.
Which is your favourite?
I don't really have a favourite.
Okay. Can Soraya sense any particular tension in his body either way at this point, aside from the fact that he's tense?
Can you make a deception check for me, please, with intellect?
I will. That's 8 + 1 is 9.
Okay. He seems nervous, though actually probably a bit less so than he was at first. He's recovering his composure a little bit. He, as far as you can tell, he doesn't seem to be lying.
Do you like working for VCI, Donovan?
You know, up until like 10 minutes ago, it was a pretty good job.
Who did you support before you started working for VCI, Donovan?
Well, I support Xander, of course.
No, of course. No one truly supports VCI, do they?
I think a lot of people do.
We don't count them, do they? They're all weird in the head. They're all just glory hunters. We're not glory hunters, are we, Donovan? We root for the underdog, don't we?
You're a Xander supporter?
Well, I support. I'm just a geeker girl. I'm a geeker geek. So anyone that waves the flag for geeker, I'm all behind.
Right. Yeah.
Do you like buckyball, Donovan?
I don't play, but I've enjoyed a game or two watching.
I like buckyball. And as she says that, she opens the cabin to the left and shoves him in.
Okay. He lets out a little yelp of surprise. Can you roll an athletic strength with strength, please?
Oh. I'm going to boon it.
Okay.
It's not important, but I'm going to do it. Yeah, and that gives me an 8.
All right. You shove him with a fair amount of force. He's not expecting it. He stumbles into the cabin, braces himself against the bulkhead on the far side, and turns around to look at you. And he says, "Look, I think we probably got off on the wrong foot."
I'm not here to shag you, Donovan. That's not why we're in here.
Quite oddly pleased about that right now. There's no one here.
I know, but you're surprised that there's no one here, aren't you?
Little bit.
We're running out of places where someone could be if they're still on the boat, aren't we, Donovan?
It's the other cabin.
Should we have a look at that one?
Yeah. Okay. He squares his shoulders and he strides towards the door, puts his hand on the closed door opposite and turns to you for confirmation before he opens it.
Please. In you go.
He opens the door and steps inside, turning around and sort of indicating with his hands that there's no one there. It's at about that moment that the door at the far end of the corridor opens and you can see Zoe there. She's looking angry and is holding what's clearly a communicator, which has some tape left on it.
What's that, Zoe?
Yeah, roses.
So 100 kilometers ago, from what I can gather, at some point, Fess got Rose off this boat. We've lost her, haven't we? For now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to Cags now. I've got some people to message, some plans to stop. Why don't you join me in a few minutes?
All right. She grabs firm hold of Donovan and steers him towards the front area of the lower deck. And you're heading up, are you?
Yeah.
When you get to the surface, can you roll a recon check for me, please, with intellect?
Ooh.
Oh, I'm back on the goods again. 12. 11 plus 1 is 12. It's been up and down today. Very up and down.
Okay. All right. That's a very good roll.
Thank you very much.
So you spot two critical things.
Oh, yes.
Which were missed previously because you weren't looking that direction, what have you.
Yeah.
You're heading out towards the stern of the boat, the
Yes.
area you haven't been before. which is also where Cags is sort of trying to hover and in that direction. You notice as you're sort of looking out towards Cags, beyond him, some distance away, what appears to be something in the water, which, because you've been involved in previous parts of this narrative, you immediately spot might be a periscope.
Oh yeah.
And at the same time, pretty much, as you're sort of looking around and assessing everything, you spot what might be an explosive device attached to the stern of the boat you're on.
Thought it might be. She shouts through the door to Zoe. Ship gonna go boom now.
All right. Can you roll for me, please? Are you going to do anything as well as shout?
Well, if the explosive goes, we're kind of doomed. So that's going to be the first shout for it. If I cut, they'll have seen us come up the periscope. So I'll take the best cover I can from direct shrapnel from any device. But that's about all I'm going to manage at the minute.
Okay. Zoe comes running up the companionway, yelling to Donovan to come up after her. And they both make it into that sort of rear cockpit area as you sort of scratch down for cover. Cags is hovering within relatively easy reach. He's close to the boat, so you can try to jump up and get aboard the shuttle if you like, or you can bail out over the side into the water.
Just try and jump for the shuttle. That's very exciting. If we aim for the stars and you'll hit the moon, or vice versa. Aim for the ship and you'll hit the water.
You take a leap for it. That's athletics, dex plus dex, please.
No, I wish I'd saved my roll now. Is it Sarai that nearly got eaten by the megalodon, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
That's all come flashing back to her, that's for sure. As she leaps over the water. Okay, that's good though, at least. That is an 8.
All right. It's a relatively challenging leap. You're on a fast-moving craft. The craft is the thing you're aiming for is moving as well. You don't exactly land lightly on the boarding ramp, but you do catch hold of it and scramble onto it. You hear Cags yell out, "We're going!" And the shuttle tips violently to the side, effectively tipping you into the craft, and you slide along the interior and slam into the bulkhead on the other side. At the same moment, you hear over your comm, "Getting wet," from Zoe, and then a sort of splashing sound over your communicator. The shuttlecraft rights itself, and as it does, there is a pregnant pause for just like a couple of seconds, and you're as the craft rights itself, you're looking through the open hatch, and you can see now, 100 meters away, maybe, the boat skipping and bouncing over the waves as it travels, and then this enormous explosion which tears the entire rear end of it apart, and the bow keeps going for like 2 more hops over the waves before it noses into one and tips over and spins, and suddenly all that's there is wreckage and debris.
Cags, you okay?
Completely uninjured. You?
Physically okay. Emotionally missing a very good friend. Can we circle around and try and find her?
Let's see what we've got. He turns the craft around and starts sort of zigzagging back towards the refuse pile. You've got a pretty good view out of the hatch. Can you do a survival check for me, please,
Oh my
with
goodness.
intellect?
Yes, oh, I've got survival. That's good.
Classic scout.
I know, right? You need it. Well,
Nice.
I don't know though, because it's a 6+1 is a 7. Yeah, Scout's got a little
Okay.
bit of everything in it. That's the key.
All right. As you circle around, you do see a figure bobbing in the water, which is Donovan.
Oh, thank goodness for Donovan.
Yeah.
Good job, Stormbeard there.
Donovan, you conscious?
He's waving as you approach, clearly keen on not being abandoned in the middle of the ocean to die.
I'm happy to swoop down and try and grab him in. I'm not going to do it in a way that requires strength though. More geometry.
Yeah, well, actually, because this has got an angled boarding ramp,
Yeah.
if Cags can make his roll, let's find out. Oh, that's not too bad. He can effectively dip the tip of the boarding ramp into the water, so he can more or less just scramble straight onto it.
Hey man, your boss tried to kill you. He left you to die.
I'm still processing.
Cool. Have a sit down. I got some snacks. She sort of pulls a few bags of cheesy balls out of her pocket and like thrusts it into his chest. Go sit down over there. Have some balls, and we'll have a chat in a minute. I need to find my friend.
Okay.
Let's have more look. Cags, can't find her. Can we get any closer?
I'll see what I can do. He's going to try and steer across towards the debris where the boat is and see if he can find. Okay. All right. Okay. It takes him a few minutes, but eventually he spots Zoe floating, holding onto a piece of the sort of wooden refuse from the boat.
There she is. Come on, let's get down. Let's rescue her.
Okay, he's going to try and get the ramp there. Oh, that's comfortable. He gets the ramp right next to her, and she starts trying to pull herself aboard. She looks to be quite badly hurt.
Oh, Zoe, what have you done to yourself? Come on, let's get you in. You all right? Oh man. So sort of she's pulling her in, looking for. Look, I would try and help you, but it didn't work out well last time. Are you going to be all right? Do you need some support? I don't know. I'm not very medical. Cags, how are you with a bandage? You said you were pretty average.
I know which way to work them.
Donovan, you ever used a bandage before?
I've done the basic course we did.
Well, come over, finish that pack, and come over and have a look with me. Let's have a discussion.
All right.
Come on. You know how they say your enemy's enemy's your friend?
Yeah.
That's us now. Come on.
He takes a look, and Cags hands him the medical kit. He looks at the injuries. Essentially, they seem to be lacerations and what have you down Zoe's back and the backs of her legs from the explosion. He looks at them and he says, "I think this may be beyond me."
Is she bleeding out in any way or anything? Ben?
No, she's not going to die from these injuries. No.
I don't think you're going to die, Zoe. I don't know. Once bitten, twice shy. You know, there's an old song apparently, and Look, settle in here. I'm going to give Agnar a call. Just catch a breath, yeah? I think the excitement is over for a few minutes. All right?
All right. Kags takes a look across and he says, "This was such a nice shuttle. Now there's salt water and blood everywhere."
We've
Sorry, I forgot.
we've got a mechanic who can sort it for you. Now, give me a second, and she calls up Agnar.
Hello.
Don't bother coming. It was a trap. Zoe's bleeding out. Well, she's not dead, sorry. She's bleeding. She's injured. We got some bloke called Donovan. He seems like a nice man. Say hello, Donovan.
Hello,
Hi.
Donovan. Oh,
Hi.
How do you feel about Varga, Donovan? Do you like him?
I don't see fur.
Are you blind?
No, I mean, I'll just stay quiet then.
So yes, we've got Donovan. He's a bit of an idiot, but he's all right. He's with us now because his former boss tried to kill him. His former boss is Fess.
I was going to say Fess. Zoe, is she all right? Do you need help? I mean, you say don't come, but yeah,
Look,
if someone's going to save someone's life,
How-
especially when they.
how do the hoity-toity folk? How do you think they'd feel about picking up a few slightly blooded guests at your next stop?
They'll be fine. You know, there's the equivalent of rules of engagement. I feel for this sort of thing. Slightly different, but the concept's the same. Put out an SOS. I'm sure.
Well, I think Kara's done that already. I don't know if it's come through, but if you do, it'd be nice to get the band half back together again. I feel like we can do more together than separately at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. At this point, it feels as though we've sort of been scattered around, not getting many results. I'm not saying we'll do any better, but you know, can't do much worse, I suppose.
Well,
You all okay though?
yeah, I'll tell you what. Let's keep in touch. If the call comes through and you guys do come, let me know. I'll get Kags to drop us in the ocean just before you come and gun it, so that he doesn't
Who?
get caught. Oh, don't worry about it. It's a friend of ours. We'll get him to drop us in the ocean just before you get there. He can gun it so he doesn't get caught up in things. He can get back to the Baltic Star,
What?
and that no, it's all taken care of. Don't worry, Kara knows. He's a nice man. He's a nice man. And then you can pick us up, and we'll work out what we're going to do. Yeah. I miss you guys. I've not seen you guys for a while. You know, it'll be nice.
It's been too long. We'll be on alert for any change in course or otherwise signs of responding to something, and I'll make myself known as a medic.
Cool. I'll get Kegs to cycle around here for a little while. Keep us posted, and if we hear nothing, we'll just head back. All right.
Yeah, good plan.
Cool.
I'm glad you're all right, all of you.
We'll survive.
Kags and Donovan, whoever they are.
You'll like Donovan. He's a nice boy, aren't you, Donovan? Nice boy.
I'd like to think so.
He's a bit of an idiot, and he's not a very good judge of character, but he's a nice boy.
Zoe looks across and says, "So, Rose?
Pretty certain she's on a submarine. And there's only one man I know who has the pips on his shoulder and the power in his arm to single-handedly take down a submarine. And he's the floofiest man I know.
She pulls herself up to sort of sitting upright and peers out through the sort of windows looking for this submarine. She doesn't spot it, but as she is looking, it's at about that moment that the periscope dips below the water and the submarine disappears. And that's where we'll call it for tonight.
We're going to go full hunt for Red October. And I love it.
Beautiful work.
That was brilliant. Thanks, both. There were some really nice moments. The Zoe Soraya back and forth was beautiful.
Fantastic. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. She does so what a guy. Of course she does. Everyone does.
You mean
what a wolf.
You mean Rack, right?
Oh yeah, Rack.
Tilon Rack.
Well, Tilon Rack is a hell of a guy.
I've saved my Rack. Yeah, it's my Rack graphic there. What a guy.
He would hunt down a submarine in no time flat.
Oh, single-handed. It's swim out to it.
Yeah. wrestle it to the seabed.
With
his bare paws.
Firm Varga paws around the neck of the submarine until it's unconscious.
Oh,
what a guy.
Yeah, so I trying to pick it up by the periscope and sort of slam it into the ground over and over again.
Till the propeller stops. Come on.
Puny sub.
We jest, but we are quite a serious stream when calls for it.
Luckily, it doesn't call for it too often.
Well, indeed. Many branches. But that was wonderful. Very good. Some really nice setup once more. I feel as though we've got some good work ahead of us.
Excellent.
Fun times.
Well, thank you very much, guys.
Thank you.
Now, what are we doing tomorrow?
That is a really good question, Ben, because it's something really exciting.
Oh, we've got a Greek man joining our channel.
Is he a Greek man?
The Greek man.
The Greek man. The most Greek, called Yanis. I believe he's named after a bear, if I remember correctly.
He is, yes.
Yeah.
He's named after a stuffed bear in the lobby of a hotel in San Moritz.
Yes, we are back for Tony and Rudy, in brackets, and Gaston. For potentially the finale of the latest adventure of the Tony and Rudy adventures in San Moritz.
One of our really favourite people in all the world. He's just such a lovely guy, and he's so much fun to game with for an evening.
Yeah.
So yes, that's what we're doing tomorrow. Tomorrow night, same bat time, same bat channel.
And we kind of know what's going on. And we're in the 1920s?
1930s.
1930s.
Late 30s.
Indiana Homes.
Yeah. I think we've reached that point where the story's gone from being like pure investigation and trying to work out what's happening to it suddenly beginning to escalate sharply as we're racing into the final act.
Yeah, we've got a major thread to pull up. It feels.
Absolutely. I'm looking forward to it. I think you guys are going to boss it, and if you don't, you'll be dead.
Yeah. So if you're looking forward to a TPK tomorrow night or a total bossing of it and solving of a mystery, then here is the place to be.
Let's go with option B.
If you do,
I'm open to suggestions.
If you do TPK, I've got to fill the next 7 years with prequels. Getting further and further in the past as you keep dying.
Can we not go beyond the grave?
Yes.
Oh, that brings a whole new level.
Ghost mystery solvers.
Yeah.
But then won't we have to show up on being snuffled out by the truth?
Oh, don't cross the streams, Ben.
Yes, excellent. Right.
What a sweet treat. I'm gonna. You know what we haven't done in ages? Raid. I'm gonna find a raid if there's a good one.
Ooh,
There,
Oh,
there
that'd be
might
fantastic.
there
if
might
there's
not
one
be.
up.
There might not be. Let's see what we got.
that is a good call though, because it has been a while.
I've forgotten how to do it. Hang on, what we got here? Oh, there's some things we watch. I'm just gonna see if there's something of a game. We don't dive into D&D as much as we love all God's children, as they say.
Mhm.
We like to shine a light on the wonky.
D&D has many a follower and many a people that will find it out. So
I like to find a stream with fewer
why
people.
not?
I like to find a stream with fewer people that are doing something a little bit wonky. That's what I'd like to do.
Yeah.
Let's have a
Yes.
click on things. Yeah. I'm seeing a lot of faces. A lot of people wearing glasses tonight on streams. It's a very glasses heavy stream night tonight, it appears. Yeah,
I'm nearly at the point where I need glasses to see the screen.
I recognise this guy. Matt's. That is Lost Caravan RPG. I don't follow them, but I clicked on it, and Matt is a nice guy. So we're gonna. He's in some other streams. He was in what's it? He was in what they called with
It's a good question.
who invited us? I'm too tired now. What's her name? Our mates who have the RPG that we've invested in, that we played against. Change Stars guys.
Oh, right. Lee's
run games for this Matt guy. So that's good stuff.
Right.
Hang on,
So they must. Chances are they're good people.
Yeah, exactly. It's all cross contamination at the end of the day. I trust Lee.
He's very trustworthy.
Worthly. I'd appreciate you.
That was a push. I know.
I like it. Good work. Right, we're jumping into Lost Caravan RPG. They're playing a whole new world, an Electrum archive mystery. Might be good, might be bad. Don't care. Let's say hello.
Yep.
Let's say hello. He's in the bottom left, by the way, when we get there to Matt. So say a big hello to Matt and everyone else there. Thank you, everyone else. Sleep well. Take care. We love you very much.
Good night.
Good night.
See you soon. Good night. Bye. Wait for the raid now. The raid now. The raid now. The raid now. The raid now.